Hey everybody, welcome back. I want to start this video off with a little disclaimer. I hate disclaimers, but you cannot say anything these days without the entire world getting offended by whatever you're going to say. So let me just put this out here. I have zero problem with any beauty influencers that I may be alluding to in this video. I'm not going to name names because I don't feel like it's them in particular. It is an entire community. The entire beauty community is having an issue with this, and there are just a few that have kind of made it more apparent to me lately. So they're the catalyst, but not the entire issue, so I don't want to call anybody out by name because I feel like that's a little bit unfair. A lot of the people that you may feel like I'm speaking about, I do genuinely enjoy watching. I just feel like in some ways the integrity of their reviews have come into question, at least for me lately. So while you can enjoy watching somebody and while you can enjoy them as a person, their business practices are what I'm more concerned with. And in terms of the Kardashians, which I am going to call out by name in this video because they were a big catalyst for me seeing how extensive this problem is, I have no problem with them either. I actually really love the Kardashians. It sounds so funny. Like, I feel like a lot of people don't really like them anymore, but I thoroughly enjoy them. I feel like they're so over the top that it's just right up my alley. And I think that it's a very special thing whenever you can take what a lot of people would see as an unfortunate event in your life and turn it into an entire empire for you and your family. So I have nothing but respect for them for that, and for Kim and Kylie both. Also Khloe, all of them for just creating their own empires from something that a lot of people would maybe not come back from. So with that being said, nothing in here is necessarily a personal attack, but I feel like from seeing Instagram comments, YouTube comments, I think a lot of people are getting to the point where they feel like a lot of beauty influencers cannot be trusted lately. And I feel like looking into both sides of it, like as an influencer, which I don't necessarily consider myself, but I am a YouTuber. I do review things on YouTube, and I guess in some way my reviews could influence you to buy something or not buy something. But I feel like the blame does not just lie with the influencer, it also lies with the companies that enable the influencers. Now, the other week, Kim Kardashian launched her Conceal, Bake, and Brighten concealer set thingy. And, you know, there's a lot of people that I follow on Snapchat or that I watch on Snapchat that I may not necessarily follow on YouTube, and vice versa. I don't always have the same set of people that I'm watching on each platform. But I was seeing a lot of people on Snapchat receiving their PR package from her with all the new concealers and powders and all that jazz. And I've seen this done before, but I guess never en masse like I have seen this time around. Every single one of them got their PR package and then was like, I'm going to review this right away. I'm going to get it up tomorrow for you. It's going to be ready to go. And I was like, wow. You know, some of them literally were sharing PR packages because they just couldn't get to theirs in time, and they really felt like they needed to get that review up. And in some ways, I get it, because we as the consumers, I'm putting myself in that category because I am much more of a consumer than an influencer, we demand these product reviews quicker and quicker and quicker each time. And I feel like we're almost causing the lack of integrity. Maybe not the way that we had planned, but it's happening because of us in part as well. So there are three guilty parties in this. You have the brands, the influencers, and the consumers themselves. So the next day, whenever I saw my YouTube feed flooded with all of these KKW concealer kit reviews, I was like, whoa, wait a minute here. I actually went on my Snapchat and posted like a teensy little rant. I will put it up here if you really want to see it. But it was basically just like, There's so many people reviewing it and they're all calling it a review, but it's not really a review. A lot of these people, most of whom I enjoy watching, put on the product while they were filming their review. And I just have a huge problem with that because almost all of them said that it was a review and not a first impressions. And if I'm a consumer just looking through videos and I'm clicking on something thinking that I'm getting a review, and it's not really an in-depth review, it is a first impressions video, that's completely different and not what I'm looking for. I do not enjoy most first impression reviews unless it's a novelty type of item or something that's kind of weird and that I just would never purchase myself. But I enjoy watching people play with it. You know what I mean? But if it's something that I'm going to spend my hard-earned money on, I don't want a first impression. I want you to have a very definite opinion of that product. And because of my own experience with trying products where I will love it the first time and then hate it the second time or the 5th time or the 10th time or vice versa, that's why I feel like first impressions are so damaging to not only your integrity, but to the consumer confidence that they have in you. Now, the other big issue with all of these influencers putting out their first impression review of their KKW products is that these products are non-returnable, non-refundable, non-cancelable. You cannot do anything once you have sent that woman your money. It is just gone, bye-bye. If you don't like it, tough, you're stuck with it. And the same goes for Kylie. Now, I will say that the one difference that I have found on Kylie's website versus Kim's is that Kylie does mention that you can return an item if it is damaged in shipping or whatever, and you have to provide proof of that. Kim's website mentions nothing about being able to return anything regardless of the condition that it was arriving in. So I feel like that is extremely shady, and I have talked about this a few times in other videos. I feel like it is a terrible business practice. It is great as a business person. It is really crappy for the consumer. And most of us, I'm just going to put it out there, most of us I feel like that are watching YouTube videos, we are not millionaires. We don't have high levels of disposable income that we can just throw at bad products and just say, I spent $200 on this, but oh well. Most of us, a purchase like that would be a hit to the wallet if we purchased it and didn't love it. If you guys have seen any of my declutters, you know that there are tons of things that I get rid of that I don't like and that I could have returned, but I just chose not to because I just kept it too long or I wanted to try and make it work or whatever, and I just never got around to it. And I'm okay with that because I know that I was letting go of that money and I know that not returning it was my choice. But if I'm purchasing from somebody who doesn't allow returns, if I don't like the product or if I don't feel like the product quality is what it was advertised to be, that's a big letdown. And I have purchased from Kylie before. I did a full review on 3 of her products and they really were not up to the quality that I would expect for the price and for the hype that she surrounds her products with. So that was a letdown. It was a waste of money. And that's not why I'm doing this video, that I'm just saying that there are quality issues. Now, the thing that I notice with a lot of these reviews is that if the influencer does give an honest review, especially with Kim and Kylie, and it's not exactly a glowing review, they immediately get kicked off the PR list. So that in and of itself, I feel like is an extremely shady business practice. If you as a company are not comfortable with honest reviews and knowing that there is something wrong with your product or something that doesn't work for certain people or certain skin types, you should take that in, be aware of it, and try to improve upon it rather than trying to silence it. So because of that, I feel like a lot of influencers, either through subconscious or conscious reasoning, they don't want to lose that PR. They don't want to have to go out and buy or purchase their own PR, or they feel like, especially if it's a Kim or Kylie product, If they wait until the day that it launches, everyone else has already done their review and their ship has sailed, and then there's no point in them doing their own review on it. Which I think there still is a point in doing that, but it's that we as the consumer are demanding that from them, that they do it earlier and earlier and earlier and get it out as soon as possible. So I think that that's where the loss of integrity comes in. You are reviewing a product, not even with a real review, with a first impression review, which is not a real review to me. And you are telling people to go out and buy it based on you wearing it for 10 minutes, 30 minutes, even if you've worn it for a whole day. What about the next time that you wear it and you try it with a different primer, a different setting powder, whatever it is, and it doesn't work out? Like, this is why it's so important to fully review things. So I wish that influencers would just take into account that we as consumers are spending our own money on this stuff based on their opinion alone. Now, I don't think that that is a good idea for us as consumers. I think even for me, if you're watching one of my reviews and it is either negative or positive and you really wanted to try the product, or maybe you were on the fence, go watch some more reviews, go look at some blogs, do something, because I purchase almost nothing that is a larger makeup purchase without looking at so many different reviews. The fact that we are putting all of our purchasing power into these influencers' hands, I feel like it's dangerous, especially whenever you don't have the disposable income of a millionaire and you're just a middle-class American just getting by, you know, which I feel like is what the majority of us are. So the things that I think need to change is, number one, from the brands. Kim and Kylie especially, you need to start accepting returns because you should stand behind your product. If your product is that great, you wouldn't have that many returns. And I understand that returns can definitely make a hit to your business, but that's what business is all about, profit and loss. And if you are unwilling to take on that responsibility and that risk, then you shouldn't be in business in the first place. I come from a long line of entrepreneurs, business owners, and every single one of them has taken risks. Every single one of them has almost hit rock bottom at certain points and came back up from it. You can't just expect to skate by on the hype. At some point, you have to knuckle down and take responsibility for your own products. And I will go ahead and put it out there that it's not even just Kim and Kylie, even though they were the catalyst for this video. I've seen this happen with other bigger brands that we have all heard of and probably bought from before. Take, for example, Benefit. They took all the influencers on a trip. I actually have no problem with the brand trips, you know, it is what it is. But whenever you're on a trip, I think that, I mean, are you really going to give a bad review of a product if you're on a trip and the people from the brand are there with you watching all of your social media? I don't think so. So let's talk about the Bad Gal Bang mascara. That stuff, there was a huge launch for it. And the day that it launched, I saw so many people on Snapchat like, look at this mascara, it's amazing. And I'm sitting there like, as a mascara fiend myself, I am so picky about mascaras. I have a ton of reviews on them. That mascara looked like crap on every single person that I saw wearing it. And I think that a lot of you would agree with me. It looked thin and anemic and spidery, but not like thick spidery, like spindly daddy long legs spidery. It was just not attractive. And you saw everybody saying, oh my God, look at my new mascara. I love this. Go pick it up today. The next day, nobody was wearing it again. And I have not seen any of those people posting about it and being like, oh, look, I'm wearing this mascara again. So if you're going to wear it the day that it comes out, and it's clearly bad, and then we don't see you wearing it again, I pretty much know that that was a bought and paid for review in one way or another. whether it was money buying it or the trip or, you know, a gain in subscribers, whatever it might be, that was bought and paid for, and you clearly did not like the product, but you didn't want to say that you didn't like it. Or take, for example, whenever you see an influencer showing you their nighttime routine on Snapchat for a week, like, oh, let me take off my makeup, here's the skincare that I'm using, you see it for like a week, and then you never hear about those products again, and it was clearly product placement or paid sponsorship that was not disclosed, and then the next week they're back to using something else entirely. I just wish that if you're going to tell me that you love something, I want to see you using it consistently, because that's the thing. Like, so many of these things are like their favorite of the second, and then you never see it again. If I'm telling you I love something, you're going to see it or hear about it in probably 9 out of 10 videos, whether it's in the description box that I'm wearing it or if I'm just mentioning it or whatever. And my favorites do not change from week to week or month to month. My favorites are my favorites until I find something that is absolutely better than that previous favorite. So I also don't like the idea of favorites because more often than not, it's full of paid sponsorships that are sometimes but not always disclosed. So my thing with that is that brands, I don't know, because I have not experienced that. I've done one sponsored video and it was from a brand that I had purchased for several times before. But I think that a lot of times brands either tell influencers, oh, you don't have to necessarily say, you know, that we gave this to you, it's fine. Or if it's the influencer just taking it upon themselves to not disclose that. I'm not sure, I can't speak for them, but it definitely is something that gives me pause and does make me start to question whether I can trust the review or not. So the brands can do better by being open to criticism, and the influencers can do better by saying, it's okay if I don't get this review up right now and I take a couple days at least to test this product out. I, as the consumer, would rather have a product review that comes out a little bit later that has been thoroughly tested and thought out before it was reviewed, as opposed to having a first impression the day that it comes out and then I go out and spend my money and then I'm like, damn, this sucks. So that's how I get to us as the consumers. We need to say to our influencers that we love and admire and we love watching their videos, we need to start telling them, it's okay if you don't get this review up the second that it comes out. I would rather have a review that I can trust as opposed to a first impression that may change drastically the next time that you use the product. So all three parties in this can and should do better. The brands, the influencers, and the consumers, we can all do our part to bring integrity back to the beauty community because it is something that is so lacking. Whenever I first started doing YouTube, my husband told me, I just want you to remember something. No amount of free makeup, trips around the world, you know, PR packages, none of it can buy back your integrity once you have sold it to the highest bidder. So that's what I want to leave you with. I hope that we can all just come back to center and start thinking a little bit more about integrity and less about being that first person to get your review up, you know, or being the person that gets the most amount of views on their review. That's all. I will let you guys go, and I will catch you next time. Bye.